it's time to learn the knit stitch. Hi guys, I'm Kristen and welcome to Studio Knit. Today is the big one. We're actually going to knit. Finally, right? I know. I hope that the information leading up to this point has been very helpful, and now we're finally getting into the meat of it. You are going to knit. So you have your tools, you've created your slip knot, and you're raring to go. So let's do this together. I encourage you to first watch and then do. And you know, with the power of video and pausing, you can go back and forth, but I'm going to try and do this really slowly so you don't have to be pausing so much, because I want your hands to be focused on your knitting needles, because that's what we're doing. We're knitting, right? Okay, let's get started. Here we go. In this knitting series, I'm teaching the American method of knitting. It's also called the English method. There's another way to knit you may come across called the continental method. Since I'm an American and this is the technique that I use while teaching all of my knitting tutorials, this series will only use the American method of knitting. Also, all my videos are teaching how to knit right-handed. Sorry, lefties. Creating a knitting swatch. In this series, we are going to knit up a little sample swatch. We'll focus on enjoying the process of knitting for knitting's sake, as it were. I encourage each individual knitter to develop at your own pace. Finish your knitted swatch when you are ready to do so, rather than furiously knitting a specified number of rows to keep up with the rest of your fellow studio knitters. And in weeks 3 and 4, I will be sharing many cute beginning knitting patterns and projects that you'll be ready to tackle at the end of this series. Before we begin knitting, first take your yarn and create that slip knot from earlier this week, and then cast on your stitches. I'm recommending 20 stitches onto one knitting needle using the long tail cast on method. I encourage you to watch me do the knit stitch one time, and then after that we'll do it together. Hold the knitting needle with the cast on stitches in your left hand. Hold the knitting needle without any stitches in your right hand. And I'm just scooching my stitches up toward the point of my left needle here to help me get ready to knit. Make sure your yarn is behind your needles. Step 1. Insert your right knitting needle into the front of the first stitch. You'll insert your needle to the left of that stitch and then through it. Your right knitting needle will be underneath your left needle in sort of a crisscross. Step 2, wrap your yarn around the right needle from back to front so that it rests between the two needles. Step 3, slide the right needle down and bring its point forward through the stitch, bringing the yarn with it. Step 4, slip the old stitch off the left needle and make sure that you only slip that one stitch off of the needle. Don't let any of the others off the needle yet. Now the new stitch is on your right needle. Oh, and before you grab those knitting needles, do me a favor, like up this video if you are enjoying your absolute beginner knitting series. Thanks guys, it really helps me out. So now let's do it together. Step 1, make sure that you're holding the knitting needle with the cast on stitches in your left hand and the knitting needle without any stitches on it in your right hand. Make sure that your yarn is behind those knitting needles. Take your right needle and insert it into the front of the first stitch. You'll insert your needle to the left of that stitch and through. I'm going to take mine out and do it one more time, and you can just keep yours in if you did it the first time around. One more time, I'm taking the right needle, and to the left of that stitch, I am inserting the tip of my right needle into that stitch. And now my right knitting needle is underneath my left knitting needle. Okay, ready for step 2. I like to, with my left hand, I like to sort of hold on to both knitting needles at this point because we're going to take our yarn with our right hand. This is step 2, and we are wrapping our yarn around the right needle from the back in a counterclockwise motion to the front so that it rests right between those two needles. I'm going to undo it and do it again for you here. Step 2 is wrapping your yarn around the right needle from the back to the front so that it rests between the two needles. Okay, step 3 is slide the right needle down and bring the point forward through the stitch, bringing the yarn with it. I'm going to undo it and do that one more time for you. Step 3 is sliding the right needle down underneath the left needle and bringing the yarn with it. Now right there is our little stitch. Step 4 is slipping that old stitch off the left needle. And make sure you only slip that one stitch. Awesome. Okay, now the new stitch is on your right needle. And you are ready to continue knitting the entire row. That little yarn tail sometimes likes to pop around. Just get them under control. Keep them in the back there. Again, your working yarn, that's in your right hand right there, is what you will be knitting with. And let's do this again. Step 1, our right needle is going to go into the front of that stitch. We take our yarn around. That's step 2. Now step 3 is sliding it down, bring the point forward, bring the yarn with it. And step 4, that stitch right there slides off the left needle, and we have our second stitch. Let's do this one more time together. Okay, step 1 is taking the right needle into that stitch. Step 2, bring your yarn around, resting between the two needles. Step 3, bring the yarn through. And step 4 is taking the stitch off your left needle. Great. Continue knitting the entire row. Repeat these 4 steps for each stitch on your left needle. At the end of the row, all the new stitches are on your right needle now, and your left knitting needle is empty. So then it's time to knit more rows. Simply switch your knitting needles in your hands so that the empty needle is in your right hand. Continue knitting each stitch on your needle, switching your knitting needles at the end of every row. Action item of the day. Keep knitting. Keep knitting the knit stitch row after row. There's no limit to how much you should knit. Just keep knitting and proudly watch your knitted swatch grow. Tomorrow in day 8, it'll be a lot easier. We're just going to sit back and take a closer look at the difference between a knit stitch and a knit row. And now you can check off in your knitting series planner. And if you still need to complete your knitting tools haul, I do have a link in the description below on where you can purchase some inexpensive knitting tools online. So how'd that go, guys? Let me know down in the comments below. Do you feel like you finally are a knitter? Like the light has come on and now you know how to knit and now the world is totally open to all kinds of possibilities? That's my hope. So let me know down in the comments below how it's going. Make sure, if you're not already, to please subscribe to Studio Knit and join my mailing list. That's a great way for me to communicate with you one-on-one. If you haven't yet, what else do you need to do? Watch more videos. Okay, there's some here, there's some in the description below. Lots of playlists here on Studio Knit, and I'll see you next time, guys. Bye!